Hi, I'm Jocelyn Harvey, founder of Transform Within. In this video, I'd like to share with you a great example of the roots of anxiety and panic. Now, let me start by just telling you a story about Julia. Now, I've changed that name for privacy reasons, but in the last couple of years, Julia has been experiencing panic attacks, to the point that she only feels comfort and relief when she's confined in a cupboard, doors closed in the bottom of the cupboard. Now, I asked whether there are any particular triggers, and she said, yes, windy days. I then asked whether anything in particular had happened on a windy day, or whether anything in particular had happened a couple of years ago when the panic attacks started. So Julia thought about that for a moment, and then she said she remembers being in a park with her husband and kids on a windy day. And at one point, a branch came off a tree and it hit the ground. Now, fortunately, Julia and her family weren't near it and they weren't injured in any way. But Julia said she now has a fear of windy days. And sadly, this is to the point that she feels panic on strong windy days. And she struggles to pick up the kids from school due to the panic. Now, of course, she makes herself do it, but it's a traumatic experience. Now, Julia's an intelligent woman, and she knows that there is no rational fear, no rational reason for the fear, sorry. Yes, the branch fell. Yes, it was a windy day. Yes, it was kind of close to them, but nothing happened. So why is Julia's brain triggering off panic attacks on windy days? Well, we delved a little deeper, and I asked Julia whether she had had any stressful childhood experiences on windy days. Well, it turns out that when Julia was a baby, her mother had to hunker down in the bathroom with Julia and her twin sister due to a cyclone. Now, of course, for Julia's mother, that was a highly traumatic experience, as she was trying to protect her young twin daughters. Now, Julia said she doesn't have any conscious recollection of it, and really only remembers it because of her mother telling the story throughout their lives. Now, interestingly, when Julia was talking about the incident, her voice changed, and it didn't sound like her anymore. Now, this is a very interesting thing that I've studied. Due to certain family dynamics and certain life experiences, we actually go into another person's identity when we relate to certain situations or certain life experiences. Now, think of it like having your work persona, or your friend persona, or your family persona, or your mum persona, etc. You know, and of course, the classic example is when your partner or sibling points out that you're being just like your mother. And I think we can all relate. Now, so why is all of this relevant? Well, unless we are in our own identity, we cannot fully integrate our life experiences. And that can lead to us effectively staying stuck in someone else's trauma. You know, as if ours wasn't enough, right? The cyclone trauma was imprinted on Julia from her mother. And then once a similar situation with strong winds and potential danger threatened Julia and her children, it triggered off a survival mechanism for Julia. And in this case, it was panic. Now, this is an example of what we call the snowball effect, where each similar traumatic or stressful experience adds more snow, and the snowball gets bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. It's just that in this case, the snowball really started with Julia's mum. But that's why when helping you deal with anxiety and panic, we always address the roots of the problem. And being in your own identity often completely changes your experience and ability to cope with the stress or the trauma. Now, if you're experiencing anxiety and or panic, I guarantee that there will be established roots. There's a very good reason for it, rather than there being some personality weakness or fault in you. There are definite roots. So until next time, please be kind and gentle with yourself and be your own brightest cheerleader. Infinite love and gratitude